Welcome back to the Weekend Wallow Star Wars Special. I'm joined again today by Keegan from Level 2 Gaming
My name is Keegan.
and also SmackersGamer.
Tally ho, me mates!
Hey now.
Welcome to the Star Wars. What about you, Josh? What was your?
My favorite character.
Please say BB-8.
I liked him more than I thought I would. When I first
did
saw that, I was like, that's specifically made so they can make toys for little kids.
He's a real robot.
Yeah.
Like, he's a real robot. Somebody who's controlling that with a controller somewhere.
Yeah.
I want that job.
Nice. But yeah, he added an element of comedy that was just like perfect. It was so funny.
He was like the C-3PO without being annoying.
Yeah. Well, the part is like super suspenseful when she's like going down into the basement and there's like this screaming and she doesn't know what's going on and she's like super worried, and then here comes BB-8 and he's just like clunk 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 down each and every step, like slowly coming behind her, and that was just like, it cracked me up because it was supposed to be this really serious scene.
BB-8 to the rescue.
And then the thumbs up with the lighter and
Oh god,
yeah.
that was the best.
Zippo's got to do something with that.
That's so funny. But overall, my favorite character definitely had to be Han Solo, just because I've always loved Harrison Ford, but he just absolutely killed it in that movie, I thought, and just some of his one-liners and just the charisma and everything he brought to the screen, and reviving that character in a good way. Like sometimes they do this where we're bringing back everybody, and we got the old actors to come back, and they're just not as good.
They don't write it in the script, right? It's kind of, they're doing for fan service more than actually writing them into the story.
Yeah.
I feel like this like I said before, this is Han Solo's movie. I mean, obviously Rey is the new main character, but this movie itself would not have happened without Han Solo.
Yeah,
because you have the Kylo Ren Ben thing, Solo taking a liking to Rey, who is now part of the Millennium Falcon team with Chewie. Like, none of that would happen without Solo, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
which kind of shows that Chewie's probably going to be more of a main character from now on too.
Maybe. How old is Chewie? Do we know? He's got to be the oldest character because Yoda's dead.
Couple hundred years, I think.
He's got to be the oldest character now.
I don't know for sure, but I heard somebody say a couple hundred years.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was in episode 3, and that was
and he was old in episode 3.
Yeah, that took place like 19 years before the Battle of Yavin in episode 4, which would mean Luke was 19 in episode 4, and then there's like 30 years between episodes 6 and 7, so that's already about 49 years.
Yeah,
just from episode 3. Never mind anything before that.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Which means Yoda must have got pretty damn ill between episodes 5 and 6, because Luke wasn't gone for that long, only like a year or two, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it's old age. I mean, he was 700, I think, is what they said, ish.
Something like that.
Something around there.
In episode 6, he was like, "When 900 years you'll be, that's how you will look."
Oh god, I can't
Funny joke.
That's a Gangrons reference.
Yeah.
I can't do the voice this morning. I'm literally looking up how old is Yoda. And when you type in how old, it's how old do you have to be to trick or treat? Yoda is 874 years old when he died in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, so he lied. He rounded it up.
I know he makes a comment about looking good at 900 years of age, but did he really die at that neatly rounded number? No.
Well, I suppose when you've lived that long, you're gonna round it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
because it doesn't seem like a lot. To
it doesn't seem like as much anymore.
I was thinking, going back to like Finn, I can't remember who it was. I think it was J.J. Abrams actually said there's a very good reason why Finn's real name hasn't been revealed, like his last name.
Yeah.
Because I think he's related to someone like, there's only 2 characters you could really go from, but either Mace Windu or Lando Calrissian. He's definitely the son or grandson of
one of them.
One of those. Because Mace Windu was human, Lando was human. There wasn't many human black characters.
Yeah,
because you were saying before,
Star Wars was real white for a long time.
Well, you say about like it being white a lot, but like to be fair, when it came to humans, we didn't really see many in general.
Yeah,
compared to how many aliens there were. So
that's true.
when you talk about like skin color, you could really say that there was only a couple of white people in it. It was all
It was
like
all
alien
green.
characters.
Green.
Yeah, like you could say like Ki-Adi-Mundi. Do you know which one he is? Like from the council with the tall
Yeah.
head, like cone
Yep.
head. He's not human, but he's got kind of white colored skin
Yeah.
compared to like human skin. But technically, he's not white per se.
He's Peach.
He's well, yes, but I was gonna say he's like an alien species.
Yeah, he's
so-
an alien, so there's no way to like determine what he actually is because it's different.
Yeah, so really,
I
there's
mean,
not a lot of choice.
technically, like the alien species itself is a race according to according to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they're all different races, but yeah, it was. I think what was really interesting with the Finn story, it kind of jerked you real quick, is like when he goes to save Poe after Poe gets captured. They didn't really give a reason of why, other than it's the right thing to do, which I guess is good and bad at the same time. Like I kind of like the other characters, I want to know more of like what their story is and why he's making this decision. But I think if I went back and watched the movie a second time, I'd probably notice it a little bit more because obviously first time around you're just like, what the hell's going on?
The way I see it, judging by the way Finn acted later and when he almost left from the Katina and was just like, we need to get out of here. We need to get away from the First Order. Because to him, it was like he realized going out on his first actual mission, he realized, all this we're the good guys stuff that he'd probably been fed was propaganda and that they were actually the bad guys and that they were evil and stuff like that. And then he also was freaking out at the time that they brought Poe back there because he stalled out in the battle when they gave the command to fire and on the villagers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so he knew he was going to get in trouble for that. And then he was like really like freaking out. So he's like, I got to get out of here. That was his main thing, was survival. He's like, I need to get out of here.
I got to run away because they're going to come get me.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, this guy's a pilot. I need to leave. Let's go, kind of thing.
I do love. We were talking about flashbacks earlier, but when they're fighting in the TIE Fighter and then eventually the Millennium Falcon, and that scene is very reminiscent of the Luke scene. Like, I got it. Don't get too cocky, kid. That reminded me of that, and I was like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But I think like with the Poe Dameron, I can't again, like everybody else. I don't know what Poe's story is because he's a great fighter and all this, but like he didn't have that much in this movie. In general, like he made his roles were really important, but there wasn't much of it. We'll see what he has, but I think it's interesting talking about the fight on Jakku at the beginning. I'm gonna go back to Kylo Ren here for a second. The fact that Kylo Ren can stop a bullet is crazy. Like Yoda couldn't do it, Vader couldn't do it, the Emperor couldn't do it. They could deflect him, but they could not stop him. So I don't know if that means Kylo Ren is super powerful and just doesn't know how to control it, or if he's what he is. I don't even think he knows what he is at times. But I find that fascinating, and I think he just didn't get proper training, or if he did, his training was real bad.
Well, Snoke said at the end, didn't he, to General Hux, go and retrieve Kylo Ren and I'll complete his training. So it's indicating that Kylo isn't very good with the Force or lightsaber battles yet. But it's like, it all really depends on who Snoke is, because if he's an ancient Sith, then he would have the power to train him. But I heard a rumor that if he is Darth Plagueis, like he's lost his power.
Yeah.
So if that's true, how would he be able to train Kylo? Because he wouldn't have a training sparring partner, for example.
What if by training he means taking his power away from him? So instead of quote unquote training Kylo Ren, Plagueis or Snoke, I'll call him Snoke because not actually Plagueis, actually wants to take Kylo Ren's ability from him.
Oh, I see what you mean.
See what I'm saying? So it's he's calling it training, but it's not truly. I mean, this is going out on a limb, but it's not truly training.
Yeah, I mean, Han Solo and Leia already said in the film, Snoke's using you, because it's thanks to Snoke that Kylo went to the dark side in the first place, like the influence that Snoke had. But what I want to know is, how did Snoke influence him? Like, he must have been in a vicinity.
Maybe. I'd see. I don't know about the whole relative. That's just too many relatives. I'd feel like we'd have to have a family tree going on.
Yeah.
To figure
But I
this
mean,
all
like,
out.
obviously Luke was training Kylo, and everything was going great. But then Snoke's influence moved Kylo to the dark side, and he betrayed Luke and killed the Jedi and stuff like that. But like, how did Snoke have that influence? Because he must have gotten close to Kylo to actually speak to him or to influence him with the power of the dark side. Like, Palpatine was very close to Anakin throughout the prequels, or sorry, Episode 3, and that's what influenced Anakin. So how did Snoke do it unless he knew Luke And this is a theory that I've literally just thought up. Maybe Snoke was a Jedi that Luke was training, and he went to the dark side. I don't know.
See, I wouldn't see that, because Luke theoretically would still be more powerful than him.
Yeah, true.
But I do like the theory that Luke knows Snoke. My Luke theory in all this is I think Luke is in hiding because of what happened with the training. I think Kylo Ren went batshit crazy, murdered a bunch of people. I think Rey was part of that training.
Yeah.
And then went away. She escaped somehow. And I'm going to throw you for a curve here. But I think Snoke is related to Rey somehow. I think Snoke and Rey have some sort of connection. I'm going to say biological connection. I don't know what it is, but I think they potentially could be related. Reason being is she's waiting for her parents to come back. Snoke doesn't want to come back because he's old and feeble. And I think he's using Kylo Ren to get to Rey. That's my outlandish theory in all this of what potentially is going on here.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, obviously, all they've said so far about Snoke is that well, they've hinted that Snoke's using Kylo to get his power, and then he'll kill him off when he's got the power. And I agree with you on that one. But they haven't said anything, like, Snoke wanted to get rid of the Jedi. They wanted Rey and the droid to get Luke's location to finish him off. And because he was the last surviving Jedi that they know of, and that we know of. But I can't see him wanting Rey for any other reason, personally. I mean, like you said before, I think there's a bit too many family trees going off on themselves here.
Yeah.
As it is. Because there's the possibility that Rey is Luke's daughter as well, and that Kylo and Rey would be cousins.
And the other theory is that Rey is potentially a Kenobi that I've heard.
Yeah, because they had Alec Guinness's voice in the flashback scene.
Which that scene is crazy.
Rey.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah, there's so many voices going off on one, but they actually edited Alec Guinness's voice. When he says the word afraid in the original series, they cut that out to just say Rey.
Because he's obviously dead and he can't say it.
So
that's usually how death works.
Yeah, well, in theory. Unless you're a Marvel comic character, of course, and you just keep coming back.
Yeah. New universe. What if this is all just a entirely new universe? This is Luke 2.0. It's all nothing happened before. This is all made up. It's all a dream.
Luke is Snoke.
Yeah, it's all a dream.
Oh wow, that
new
would
theory,
be
everybody.
insane.
Luke is Snoke.
But I was gonna say too about Rey that I've heard people say that she might be Kylo Ren's sister as well.
I don't think that'll happen. Again, family tree reasons. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah.
But you don't know Rey's last name yet, and you don't know Finn's last name. So maybe what if, and this is going to be bad, what if Rey and Finn are related?
No.
I don't think...
you have another...
That'd be like...
You have another incestual relationship potentially happening.
I can't see that they'd do that again. It'd be pretty creepy if they did, because it'd just be like history repeating itself over and over and over again in that whole, in the universe. If Luke found out, he'd probably get massive flashbacks of when Leia kissed him, and he'd be like, oh god.
Oh god.
On screen, he'd just be like, oh crap.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Star Wars After Dark. We talked about it a little bit, that flashback. What did you guys grab out of that? Because I don't remember majority of it because it was so quick. And honestly, I was when she grabbed the saber, I jumped at first because it went from real quiet to real loud real quick in the theater I was in. I was like, ah!
Yeah. Well, it showed that she was left with the junk dealer guy. And that was brought to my attention in an article I read at a later point. But that kind of brought up the fact that he wasn't just some grumpy old guy there that was trying to swindle her out of her stuff. He was trying to keep her on that planet. Like she was meant to be there to be kept safe.
Or if he's like another Jabba, though, he's looking at it as his property.
Well, that could be as well, but...
I don't think her parents would leave her with someone like that.
Yeah.
Because they left her in his trusting care.
And they also brought up the fact that the Millennium Falcon was somewhat conveniently there for her to utilize when she needed it, which also could have been done on purpose. So that brings up the fact that maybe Han, knew who she was.
I don't know, it's difficult because I don't think Han would ask her name and all that. When they went to the planet with Maz's cantina, he was like, "What's your name?" And she was like, "Rey," and he was like, "Rey." It seemed like he didn't know. Unless that's a name that they gave her on the planet to keep her identity secret.
Yeah. It's real weird, though? This kind of rubbed me the wrong way. When the whole Han Solo thing happened, and then they come back and meet up with Leia, why is it Rey and Leia that hug? Why is it not Leia and Chewie?
Yeah.
You'd think it'd
Yeah.
be Chewie because of the relationship going on between
Especially
Han and all them.
because she'd never met Rey before either.
So that, to me, I don't know if that's just me overthinking it or what it may be.
No,
but
see, I thought of that too. I was like, what? I mean, okay, there's obviously some sort of connection, and they're both like somewhat. I think isn't Leia somewhat a Force user? I don't know, but
Leia is a Skywalker, so she has the ability to use the Force.
so
Yeah, she's
and then
Force
Rey
sensitive.
obviously is. So maybe through that they kind of get it, got the
They bonded.
connection. But that bugged me too. It's like, okay, they have not even met.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been
But-
done on accident either. Like, the directors and writers would have had a reason for it.
Yeah.
What annoys me is they've left so many things open without explaining it. I mean, they know we've got to wait 2 years for the next proper episode, and there's so many unanswered questions, but they've done it on purpose to make us theorize these things for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that's clever, but it's, as a fan, it's quite frustrating.
It is. So my biggest gripe, besides how much I felt like episode 4, is the fact that I knew they were gonna do it, and I hated it. But the ending, the way that that Luke scene where he doesn't say anything, looks at her like, I
Yeah.
get why they did it. They want to get you excited for the next one. But as somebody who's like, I want to know now,
Yeah.
type
yeah.
thing, like every other Star Wars movie had some sort of closure. So episode 4 had the medals where they got the medals at the end of the movie. I can't remember how did Empire end?
Empire ended with Luke getting his metal hand, and they watched as I think it was the Falcon, flew off.
Mhm.
He was just there with Leia, looking
So
out
you-
the window into space.
So you have some sort of closure, and then obviously Return of the Jedi is the Forest Moon of Bendor scene. So you have that, but like I feel like this movie was just a stepping stone to the next movies, which is what it is. But at the same time, I want it to stand on its own. I guess I think partially the reason I feel let down is because they did the whole Death Star's bigger thing, and I didn't feel like it should be the way to end the story. Like, we blew up a bigger Death Star, cool. I don't care. You've already done this twice before.
Yeah,
You're rehashing the same thing. It's in a planet. Cool. It's still just a big Death Star.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought they did do that well with the planet thing. I thought the massive scale of it was like, it's kind of like somebody looking at something and going, okay, this was a cool idea,
Let's make it bigger.
but, we can improve it. That kind of seems like the whole thing of the New Order is trying to be a better empire.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. That's
What
what
I-
I was thinking.
What I was hoping they were going to do in that scene was they're like, here's the Death Star, here's Starkiller Base. Yes, it's bigger, but it's also got something else. Like, I was hoping that bigger was going to be like a joke to it, and they're going to say, hey, by the way, this is something else that goes along with that. Like, I don't know what that something else would be, but I just wish they would have been like, yeah, it's bigger. Haha, funny. We made it 10 times larger than the Death Star because it can destroy more stuff.
They kind of did have another thing, though, where the beam splits up into different beams. It was like the Death Star, but like Josh said, obviously the First Order seems to want to up the Empire. They want to be like the Empire, but better, because it's a whole new group of people. So they're copying the Stormtrooper thing, but they're actually training them from birth instead of hiring them down the line. Because obviously at first it was clones, but
Yeah.
their life expectancy was a lot lower than normal humans. So they all died out. So in the original trilogy, they started hiring people, hence why they had different voices now and again and stuff like that. And that's been shown in this new film too, because there was like female troopers, as well as obviously Captain Phasma being a female.
Mhm.
So they are relatively copying the Empire, but they're trying to be better with it. They're trying to have the same sort of ships, but bigger, like the Star Destroyer type ship in the beginning of the movie. And of course, that leads up to the Starkiller Base being massively bigger than the Death Star. They're trying to copy the Empire because they know that the Empire was such a huge force in the galaxy that everyone feared. So they're copying those ideas, but trying to make it better and more destructive. Hence why they turned a planet into a Death Star instead of building a space station itself. And
Yeah.
they made it split up into different beams so they could attack multiple planets. They're just trying to copy but be better. So
They still left a semi-giant hole, but not really,
Yeah,
I guess,
well-
because you had to take it down from the inside.
Oh yeah, I feel like it took a lot more for them to take it down for the Starkiller Base than it did for the Death Star. Because
Oh,
the
yeah.
Death Star just seemed like, well, you just got to be really good at aiming, and there's this one spot right on the end there, like a video game boss,
Yeah.
basically. Hit the
Yeah.
red dot
There's-
there, and then
There's
you'll...
the weak spot.
But
pretty much. much.
For the Starkiller, it was probably the high point of the movie for me because I thought the ending was kind of lame, but just so much happened in there with the fact that they had to go through all these steps of, taking down the shields and then the whole aerial dogfighting and stuff going on and then bombs they set up and everything like that. And then finally the last step could be taken and Poe went in and delivered the final blows, which even though it was very reminiscent of flying in for the kill in the Death Star, but I felt like it took a lot more for them to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say they pretty much took ideas from the first 3 original films and kind of combined them into one movie, but in a clever way. Like the fact that Starkiller Base, they had to go onto the planet to disable the shields first. That reminded me a lot of the Battle of Endor.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the similarities of the Death Star trench run were there for Episode 4, as well as the whole bridge thing with Darth Vader and Luke, similar to how Han Solo and Kylo were in this new one. That was taken from Episode 5. So I think that Episode 8 will be a lot more original.
And I think part of it was to get the fans back on board after the prequels, because a lot of fans were iffy. I want to say iffy because they still love Star Wars, but like if this movie had sucked to the hardcore Star Wars fan, I think the franchise would be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, Star Wars is not going bankrupt anytime soon because they're a big thing, but I think from a fan base standpoint, it might get to the point where people are like, well, Star Wars is not Star Wars anymore. Like, what is this? It's the Disneyfication of Star Wars, and I don't care about it. But I think they did this movie right, like we said earlier, balancing the old with the new. And I agree with you, Sam. Next movie is going to be majority new. I think next movie, or I'm hoping next movie, will be Luke's story and what's been happening to him. Because that's what I thought this movie should have been, personally. I mean, I love the story that they told, but that's what I was hoping for was like, because everybody's like, what's Luke been doing the last 30 years? Well, hopefully next one we get to find out. Because obviously they've got to say something about it, because they ended filming on that island. They started filming for the next movie on that island. So they're doing something on that island. Who knows how long it's for. Yeah. But there's got to be some sort of dialogue that happens between Rey and Luke.
They've also damaged that island in real life as well. Like apparently they didn't get proper permissions to film there. And some of the stones and the steps have been damaged. And I can't see them damaging too much if it was just to walk up the steps and just stand there with Luke. So I think they've probably, like you said, if they filmed there again for Episode 8, they've probably done something there, like training, like actual fight scenes, enough to damage them. I mean, it's only a theory, but I mean, it's an old place. Obviously, maybe stepping on the stone is broken, but...
And clearly Rey and Luke are probably not going to fight each other.
But I mean, like, as training, like he takes her up as his apprentice sort of thing. If that was the case.
Yeah, I'm saying like there's not going to be a battle between Rey and Luke on that would damage it. There's going to be some sort of flashback that they go to. I think they're going to show when Kylo Ren kind of lost his stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, no, because that island wasn't for that.
Oh no, yeah, because he ran away after that. Yeah,
he went there to hide. Yeah, I see what you were saying. That's like it could be a flashback. Obviously, every Star Wars film kind of starts and ends in different places. Like Episode 4 ended obviously with the ceremonial medal thing, and Episode 5 started on a completely different planet with a completely different established base.
Yeah,
there was obviously a good amount of time between the two, so I'm guessing they'll do this again between 7 and 8. They'll have like a time skip. And like you say, they probably do a flashback scene to Rey and Luke being on the island.
They've got to do something because it's too big of a cliffhanger in this movie to not mention in the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was also going to say about Skywalker lineage. The whole of Star Wars pretty much has been a Skywalker story.
I want to get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they will though, because the prequels were a Skywalker story, but it was about Skywalker A, and then the originals were about Skywalker B, and it's like, I've got this bad feeling that the new ones are going to be about Skywalker C, whoever that may be. Because it's just going to be new Skywalker every 3 films, but it's going to focus on that Skywalker for the 3 films.
See, I don't think so, because technically Luke is not supposed to have kids. Jedi aren't supposed to have kids. So Anakin did it, and that's why he turned to the dark side, was to protect his kids, but he knew he wasn't supposed to do it. So Luke technically is not supposed to have any, which is also kind of why I don't believe that Rey is Obi-Wan's daughter or granddaughter or whatever.
But don't forget that when Anakin wasn't supposed to have kids, that was when the Jedi Council was established.
That's true. That is
And that's
true.
when the Jedi rules were actually in play. But after that all happened, obviously Anakin destroyed all of the Jedi there, and the rest of the Jedi, obviously those rules were no longer applicable.
That's true.
So Luke wouldn't have known anything about it, because it was 19 years after that as well.
Unless Yoda told him something about it in his training that we don't see.
I don't know. I mean, I can't see Yoda really mentioning that. I mean, there's no point in enforcing rules if there's no enforcement.
Yeah.
There's no point just one person saying, hey, you can't smoke in here. It won't have any validation.
Yeah.
But if a police force apply those rules, like no smoking here, then it has a lot more validity,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yep. 100%.
So who knows? But I think there's going to be another Skywalker.
We'll see. We'll come back in 2 years and we'll discuss that one. We'll see.
Yeah,
who's
we'll do
right.
another one.
We'll see who's right.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Stay tuned next week for the third and final part of our Star Wars special. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and may the Force be with you.